So in this video, we're looking at how you can use the mini band to help you activate the hips and take pressure off the back and the knee when you're training up for any kind of lower body specific movement. So easiest thing to remember is the mini band is not something that's going to replace a movement. It's sort of just an adjunct to help you prepare. And if you're using the mini band as a warm up, the exercises we show you today, just do that once, one round, warm the hips up. You're not trying to do 4 to 5 reps or sets rather, and fatigue these muscles. We want to just turn them on, kind of wake them up so that way they can support the knee, they can support the back. If we completely fatigue them, then we're going to be in big trouble during running and other exercises. So easiest way to start is above the knees. If this gets easier, move it down to above the ankles. And then if that becomes easy, you can add both. So you can use the mini band up around the knee and one down below the ankle. So to start, if I'm trying to open up the muscles that control single limb stance, if I'm in a single limb stance such as running, these muscles are doing the majority of the work. So if I don't have stability, I'll get some excessive collapsing. A lot of issues can occur here, but it also offsets the balance in this leg. So if I'm stepping side to side with the mini band, you'll start to feel that muscle kick in. What it should look like is knee and shoulder are leading, so I'm staying stacked, I'm in a nice stable position. I'm bending the hips slightly through the hip crease, so this hip hinge we work on, it's an athletic stance. We don't want to be going up onto the toes, knees shouldn't be driving forward, definitely shouldn't be rounding or compromising anything. It should be a nice stable position. And then as I step to the side, everything stays stacked. So I'll take a step, and then I can return. If you notice, I'm not leaning and moving, I'm not using momentum. If you have space, you could take 10 side steps, and at the end of 10, you could perform 5 reps, reaching back slightly, and that sort of just targets a different hip stabilizer. The whole time though, this leg is holding most of the weight. It's like 99% of the weight is on this leg, okay? So I'm here, the knee's not collapsing. I can walk back, repeat the same thing on this side, and then if you have space, stagger your stance and take steps back, driving from the back leg. So I'm pushing, pushing, pushing. I'm not pushing from the front leg. So it's another good way to activate the posterior chain. If you're going to be squatting, if you're going to be doing anything where you're getting into a burpee, this is a great way to just knock out a few reps of a squat as well. And with the squat, what we don't want to see is the feet real wide, the ankles turned out. It's a pretty unstable position. It's telling us that there could be something going on at the ankle or the hip. It just could be a general instability issue. So when you see this real wide position, you're locking the joints and you're leaving yourself vulnerable for an injury, because the deeper you go or the faster you go, you're going to lose that control. You're going to see the joints collapse. This position leads to a lot of knee injuries, a lot of groin strains. So if you turn your feet out slightly, think about ripping the floor. So just that cue, if I try to rip the floor with my feet, you'll feel the hips engage. And then I'm sitting back into a chair, so I'm just going to sit back, nice and stable, drive back up, and squeeze the butt at the top. Okay, so a really easy way to execute this is pretend like you're sitting back into a chair. So I'm going to turn the feet out slightly, grip the floor, reach back. As soon as I feel the chair, I'm going to drive back up, squeeze again at the top. I'm not arching. If I was dealing with somebody who was maybe having a hard time getting this movement down, I could put a band around their hip, and on the way down, it's cueing them to break at the hip and not the knee, so they can get there a little easier, but then they have to work to get back up. Okay, so really easy drill, really good way to kind of train the hip hinge, especially if you've been sitting for a long time. Try these out, make sure no pain is felt anywhere. You should just feel some fatigue kick in the muscles and up in the hip. And if you guys have any issues, just reach out to one of the providers. Thanks.